Welcome to Sakura's Christmas breakfast. These are the ingredients I bought. 1 whole loaf of tiger bread, way better than sliced bread. Some pre-sized blood sausage, which is the best thing since whole loaves. Next thing, bacon. Preferably dry cured, smoked back bacon. But we all love fat and crispness. So, more fatty bacon it is. On to the next step is to get some shrimp. What are you doing here? No. No! Go away!
Welcome back to Hello Rip.
So we're out here in the dark again. Tonight, we're hunting mushrooms. And they always say, don't eat the mushrooms in your garden. They'll cause you to die, intense pain, psychedelic effects, all this rubbish. You don't get psychedelic effects. The mushrooms are psychedelic. That's why you go and hunt them at night. They're always having a fucking party out here. Like, end of the garden. Here we have a couple of varieties of mushroom. Now, these ones definitely might make you see a few extra lights, but we'll take these little chestnut ones. They'll do us. Okay, the next homegrown thing we need is tomatoes. It's very common to grow tomatoes in the UK, either gardens or allotments. You can always get them fresh somewhere close by. Now, all these tomatoes, as you can see, not quite ripe yet. But I have come out in the dark, and in the dark you can't see the colours as well. So, if everything's in black and white, doesn't matter whether they're ripe or not, right? Perfect. Let's have some of these. Okay, we have to be a little quiet here, because as you can see there is a fresh egg just hiding in the corner. Now, I know people will say eggs come out of chickens and all this rubbish. Now, it's all a conspiracy. You know? Think about it. Why would eggs come out the arsehole of a chicken? It's not plausible, is it? You know? It doesn't happen when you're doing anything, does it? Anyway, I'm going to be very quietly sneak up on this one. I'm very fortunate in that they quite often think I'm one of their own. You know, I'm just as shiny, just as round. And they let me get very, very close. And that's why you don't normally see them in your garden. So, before it goes... There we go. That's one of the little buckets. And, yeah, looks pretty good. We'll get another one and head back to the kitchen. Well, bollocks. That didn't work out very well, did it? It's hardly a red, ripe fucking tomato, is it? It's okay, we'll leave them on there for a little bit. The red ones are cannibalistic, they'll eat the rest. On to the next one. Well, it's a bloody sausage, right? The UK does amazing sausages. We have hundreds of varieties. Traditionally you want something like linkage sausage or something. But I do my own sausages. I grow my very own, so, well, here we go. Oh God, that gets worse every time. Jesus Christ. Okay. They get smaller every time. So, yeah, there we go. We have our ingredients. Mushrooms. I told you the red ones were cannibalistic. Look at that fat bastard, he's eating all the rest. Freshly dug up eggs, bacon, black pudding, sausages, bread, beans, Yorkshire tea, orange juice. These are compulsory. You don't get to sub that with coffee, or I will find you and I will take your sausage off. A little PSA here. Never wash your mushrooms and get these fills wet. A lot of experts will tell you it's because you lose the taste. The actual reality is Mushrooms are pretty much gremlins. Never get them wet after dark. They will multiply, turn into huge monstrosities. So, as you can see, I'll put them in a pan. I'm going to pour some water on them for an experiment. Let me show you. See what I mean? I put a little bit of water on them. I turn my back for 2 seconds. This is the fucking size of them. You have to watch them. They're so sneaky. I mean, if you turn away for a split second, Jesus fucking Christ, look at the size of it. That's insane.
One eternity later.
Okay, welcome back to Rip's Christmas cooking video. As you can see, ingredients have changed slightly. That's mainly because I kind of flew across to Germany for a week to see a pretty lady, and then I got ill, and it's like a month later. So, with something similar, we've got some slightly more festive chestnut smoked bacon, and as happens when you go to see a pretty lady for a week, the sausages have got bigger, and because I didn't throw it away before I went, some things have got a little harder. Natural responses. It's not to worry, we have a solution. Perfect! That'll make great toast. It's hot already. Wonderful. I may have made a little bit of a mess. Okay, back to the less silly stuff. There's not a whole lot to cook in an English breakfast. The only thing really is your timings. So your sausages are going to take a while, 10-15 minutes at least. So they go on first. Your baked beans can go on to warm up because they can warm up slow and can be kept warm. And the eggs, the bacon can wait till last. The tomatoes we're going to fry off in some of the bacon fat, and the same for the black pudding. And we're going to do toast and fried bread. Fried bread you can do with some dripping straight away if you have bacon dripping. If you don't, do it at the end in the pan. It's going to take you a little bit longer, some stuff's going to go a little bit colder, but who gives a shit? It's Christmas. Enjoy it. Okay, I've got a bit of butter warming in the pan. I'm going to put the other pan to warm, if I use the right control. Medium heat for the sausages, you don't want to burn them. The butter's not going to burn either, so no need for oil. Use butter, it tastes better, it's more traditional. You can use bacon dripping or beef dripping if you have it, which is even better. And if you save the dripping from the bacon when you cook it later, you can use that the next time you make one, because there will be a next time you make one. There on, you can just hear them sizzling away, like really gently. That's all you need, because if you turn the heat up, you're just going to burn the outsides before the centre's cooked. It's very easily done with the sausages, especially thick ones. Okay, on to the baked beans. Let's get those in too. One can. Doesn't matter what you get really, most of them taste the same. Yes, out the can Heinz tastes better, and everyone say you've got to use Heinz beans, but that's only because they are heathens who will literally just eat them out the fucking can. Now, tradition is warm the beans through, and you should be adding some sort of aromatics. Throw some rosemary in there, throw a bit of parsley in there. In my case, green onion. I'm going to add green onion. I'm going to give it a little bit of richness with some cheddar cheese. This is a smoked cheddar. Very popular. Obviously cheddar cheese originates in the UK. We have thousands of varieties. It is ridiculous. And I'm going to add a bit of double cream. Again, add a bit of fat to the sauce, add a bit of richness, give a better mouthfeel. And the difference between just adding those few things and warming that up out the can as it is night and day. If anyone eats it out the can, it's just because they're a lazy. Okay, next things. Bit of toast, bit of fried bread. Should be both. Often you'll only get toast with an English. It's people being lazy. So, slice of tiger bread, I might have explained that already, but that's basically a bread that's basted in milk, salt and pepper. It gives it a nice seasoned flavour. Very popular in the UK. It's not entirely traditional. It would be normally just a farmhouse loaf or something like that, but it's very similar with a little bit more flavour. So we're going to throw the toast in because that can cool and harden while everything else is going. The sausage is getting a lovely browning on them. The beans are coming up to temperature. And then the fried bread, there's two different ways of doing it. You can do it with a blow lamp like you've just seen with the other video. Little chef's torch with a creme brulees. Works beautifully if you just put a thin coat of butter or dripping on top and then toast. Or you can just throw it in the pan, soak up all the meat juices and butter and everything from either the sausages or the bacon. So I'll show both. But first, let's get this toast in. One fancy grill. You don't need a fancy grill, but it is quite nice, this one. So one slice of toast, you can go in there. Sausages are sizzling away nicely, so I'm going to turn those down a little bit just to stop them burning before they cook through. And then I'm going to butter a little bit of fried bread and show you the first way of doing it with a torch. That toast is done and cooling on a rack. Just toast up on a rack, it'll go crispier. And you've seen these little creme brulee torches in previous videos. They're very handy to have. You can obviously just slowly go over, get the butter liquid so it soaks in, and just keep moving the torch relatively quickly backwards and forwards. You'll eventually get the butter or whatever you're using bubbling slightly. If you don't move it fast enough, you'll get black burnt bits. So you've got to let that butter slowly come up to temperature, start bubbling away before you get actual decent heat on it. And when I say decent heat, you didn't really think I was sticking to this, did you? I mean, oh, those sausages, aren't they? Not when I have this. Come on, guys. You know we're better than this. Oh. Now you can see those slight black bits appearing? That's because for some strange reason I'm overheating the top of the bread before the butter is soaked in, and I can't quite figure out why. But it's fine. Should be a little bit of char. Just keep it moving. Keep it moving. Keep the flame off the actual bread itself. You shouldn't be touching the surface, otherwise that happens. See? And you'll get a horrible taste from the propane or whatever you're using on the bread itself. Now for me, it's looking pretty good already. Maybe just do this end a little bit more. One beautiful piece of golden brown fried bread. Okay, so as toast is cooling, as fried bread's cooling, the sausages are looking beautiful. The beans are up to temperature. We're going to get these big beef tomatoes, and you can use small cherry tomatoes, you can use canned tomatoes. They're all being used. I like these big beefy ones because I'm trying to fry them off. If you're using canned plum tomatoes, you just warm them up in a pan the same as the beans. I like fried tomatoes. It's my thing. So they can go in there much better. And for the mushrooms, if you use small ones, use small chestnuts, you can just throw them in at the same time. For these great big fucking things, and their matching pan from earlier, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the bottom in the oil with the bacon, let those cook, put a bit of butter on them and grill them under the grill like the toast. A little bit of salt and pepper, that's all I need. You can throw a bit of soy on, it's not traditional but it's quite nice. Okay, these have just had a few minutes in the pan with some bacon fat. As you can see, a little bit of colour at the bottom. Nothing up the sides or anything, because obviously of the size of these, it's very hard to get the heat around them. So now they've just got some butter, a little bit of salt and pepper, and they're going to come over here to the grill. Straight under the grill. Pop that on. If you've got adjustable heat, leave it on low or medium. You don't need want a lot of heat, you will burn the outsides. So mine's just adjustable by height, so it's fair enough. Next thing, pan's warming up. Again, a little bit of butter. Fried eggs are going in because they're the next thing that's going to take the longest. Then the bacon, and finally the black pudding. You might be wondering why I've got all pans crowded together. It's because this ring has died. I was supposed to be getting a new hob today, but it hasn't been delivered, so I'm struggling along a little bit. The things I do for you guys. I think what we will do though is we'll start and add things to the beans. Okay, we've got some chopped up cheese. That is going in while everything's nice and hot. Let it melt down in the beans. Gives us a lot of richness, a bit more smokiness to the sauce. Stir that in, it shouldn't take long to melt down. It's going already, as you can see. I'll flip these sausages over because they're getting a little bit too caramelised on one side. It's not burnt, by the way, it is just caramelisation, look. You'll have to trust me on that one. Tot won't, but that's Tot. She blew a microwave up, she can't say anything. Okay, we're going to make sure the heat is turned down on the beans, let that cool off a little bit, even take it off the heat a touch if your pan is very slow to react. And the reason you're going to slow that down is so you can add a bit of fresh cream. You can use milk, it's not a problem, cream's a bit richer. Not one for the lactose intolerant people, but hey. And yes, it does look a bit of a mess to start with. It will cook back down into a bit darker colour. We're going to add that. We're going to add a bit of mustard. English yellow mustard, obviously. You Americans can piss right off with your yellow coloured fucking mayonnaise. And if you introduce French stuff anywhere near an English breakfast, we will invade. No Dijon. Don't get me wrong, it's reasonable, but yeah. A little bit of heat, bring out some flavour. You can see the cheese is melted almost down straight away. As soon as the cream went in. You just got to watch you don't overheat it now, otherwise you'll split the cheese. You'll split the cream and the cheese. We're going to add the white part of the spring onion, or green onion for the rest of you. Depends what you talk. I'll call it. I can see the camera bouncing around, sorry guys. I'll chop it a little bit slower. See if that's better. So we're going to add all the white while the heat's still on. Get that in the pan. Just there. Brightens up the flavours a little bit. And then bouncy camera again. Sorry, let me slow down. We're just going to slice the rest of the green. I'll take that out. And that can go in right at the very end as you take the heat off. Otherwise you'll have no flavour at all from those. If you cook them down, that's it. All that freshness disappears. Okay, sausages are out. Tomatoes still cooking. And get the eggs in. So that's one. That's two. That'll do me. Pan was a touch cold. You don't go white straight away, your pan should have been a little bit hotter. But that's fine. I'm struggling at the moment. If you do them in oil, the bottoms don't crisp as well as if you're doing them with butter. So I guess if you don't like that on your eggs, do them in oil. I prefer a little bit of crunch on eggs. That's just me. Okay, the beans have darkened up a little bit. They're not the beautiful red rich colour that you normally see, but they are much tastier. They do want a bit of salt. I'll throw a little bit of salt in there. And I love black pepper, so I'll add a bit of black pepper. And the only other thing you really need to salt is a touch on the eggs when they're done, and the tomatoes. Tomatoes always need a lot of fucking salt, even though they're going to be in with very salty bacon in a moment. So, eggs are doing, mushrooms are grilling, beans are basically done, so we're going to turn the heat off on those completely. And all we're going to do is throw our bacon in there and then finish off with the black pudding. Okay, bacon's in, tomatoes are looking great. Eggs, quick tip for the eggs, if you love your yolks still rich, once they're halfway done on the whites and you've just got a little bit of crisp around the edge, blow lamp, chef's torch, whatever, get one of these. They are so useful in the kitchen. And you can just finish off all that white, especially just around the base of the yolk where it's usually thickest. Okay, a little bit around the yolk. Don't panic, the yolk inside isn't cooked. It's like the very, very surface just from the heat of the temperature of that flame. So it stops your yolk breaking when you take it out, hopefully. Famous last words. And you haven't overcooked the bottom of the yolk, the bottom of the egg or anything, just to get all the whites cooked. So, heat's off, heat's off. The only thing we have going now is the bacon and the tomato. I'm going to pop these out of the pan onto a plate, and I'm going to get this black pudding in. I'm going to tip a bit of that bacon fat in a moment. Okay, the eggs are plated up, bacon's off the heat, looking nice and rendered and crispy. You can see the fat slowly rendered down, got nice and crunchy. And then we have black pudding, and I've poured some of the bacon dripping out that pan in here. You can always pour the bacon dripping into another container, by the way, let it cool off, use it in the fridge the next time. Toast and fried bread done with bacon dripping is so much better than butter. You won't believe it till you try it. Anyway, back to the controversial one, blood pudding, or black pudding in the UK, because people got put off by calling it blood. It is literally made out of pig's blood, and then fat to render down, and sometimes a little bit of seasoning, a little bit of grain and things, just to give some flavour and texture. It's going to be pretty much the same thing as most stuff on here, medium heat, bit of oil, butter dripping in the pan, and just fry it off. There's a reason it's called a big British fry up. There is not a whole lot to it. In fact, most people will do this in 1 or 2 pans. I've just split them up because I'm struggling with rings. So yeah, we'll get the bacon on the pan, tomatoes, we'll get the fried bread and everything on, and these will just take a couple of minutes either side, just until you see them brown up a little bit, and they'll just go crunchy as they cool down. They're like toast, almost. Okay guys, so there you have it. Yeah, full English breakfast. Obviously very common in the UK, very much a national dish, and for me at Christmas it kind of holds a special place, because this is what I always used to get at my granddad's in a Christmas morning. We'd all walk up and have a breakfast before we went back to open his presents, and I continued the tradition when he got too old. So I would cook breakfast for him, he would walk down here in the morning and have a full English with me, say Merry Christmas before he went up to do his own things, and my elderly neighbours as well also come round. So it's kind of like a lovely pre-Christmas gathering, almost nearly as a morning. You know, just enjoy a little bit of food, a little bit of breakfast, and tell everyone Merry Christmas. So from me to you guys also, Merry Christmas. I hope you try it. If you're a little unsure on what to make, message me. It's a very simple dish. Let's face it, the English made it. Don't forget your tea. If it ain't Yorkshire tea, I am going to find you. And orange juice. You must have the orange juice. People that don't serve it with orange juice, that is the acid to get rid of all this fattiness on your mouth. Cleanse with the orange juice, drink some hot tea. You have your toast over here, a selection of marmalades or jams, also traditional. And yeah, I don't think it turned out too bad. And just look at the yolks on those. Cook them with a blow lamp. Look at them, beautiful. And obviously you can see the bottom's gone a little bit crispy just because of the butter. Anyway, I'm going to enjoy this, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your night, guys.